Good morning and welcome to the Elevate Renatus team call. This is your host, Keely Austin. Today, as of right now, we have 74 participants on the line. Make sure that you reach out to your team. We don't want any ICMs left behind. Bill Predebon is an awesome guy. I've gotten to know him over the last few years as we both work in Scottsdale. And I think he was one of the first people I saw present 4 years ago when I first got started. And he talked about how he loves animals and how he wants to have a no-kill shelter one day. And so I've always just been drawn to Bill because we both have that in common. I'd love to have a farm sanctuary or a non-kill shelter. And I quickly discovered that Bill is also someone who is a product of the product, and he is has a strong team, and they're all doing really, really well. It seems like a lot of his team is really just taking action and getting 5-star qualified, out there doing deals. So Bill is someone that we certainly want to learn from and listen to, because what he's doing is working. So make sure that you listen to what Bill has to say in these trainings. It's powerful. A little bit of Bill's background before Renatus: he was a pro skier for 10 years. I just got a message that my connection's unstable, so I hope I'm coming through clearly. Before Renatus, Bill was a pro skier for 10 years in Vail, Colorado, and he realized that he was not qualified to do much else. He then bought a couple of stores, and he owned a franchise, and due to lack of knowledge, that ended up costing him the business, and he lost everything. In 2007, he heard about real estate investing. He didn't have education. He did it on his own. He ended up upside down in over $400,000 during the 2008 crash. He then found Renatus, and in his first year in Renatus, he made 8 times more than he did the previous year as a loan officer. Ever since then, Bill has now completed around 130, 150 deals. He's grossed multiple 7 figures in real estate. He's a marketing leader here in Scottsdale and across the nation. He is a PIT team member, meaning he's training to be on the PAC, which is the President's Advisory Council. And we're very fortunate to get to have him as our trainer each and every week on Tuesday. Good morning, Bill.
Keely Bills, can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you loud and clear. You sound good.
All right, I'm gonna come off video here so folks can enjoy the morning view. My unshowered, dog walked, coffee drinking view. How are we? Keely, thank you so much for, man, I was listening to you yesterday, and it was, so I was walking my dogs. I was walking my dogs when you guys were on the phone yesterday, and it was, so here, you guys, it's 7 a.m. now. We don't change times, right? So it used to be 8, now it's back to 7. I kind of like it earlier, but I was just thinking about you, and I know I've said this before, but every day you get up, you got to prepare, you got technical difficulties to deal with, and the rest of us can just get on the call at 8:05 or 8:10 or 8 o'clock and chime in, and everything's working fine, and you're out there putting things together and making it happen, so we all can enjoy this call. This has been one of my favorite calls since going on 3 years, probably. I mean, when I was living in my other house, even I remember listening to Christian Sadler and John O'Neill and Michael when they started this. So just super grateful and thankful that you're here leading this team, and then as well as leading Scottsdale and all you do. So I appreciate it very much.
Thanks,
Thank
Bill.
you. Absolutely. Welcome, 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 everybody. All right, Anthony, yeah, I got you covered. I'll text you my my Zoom. All right, so here's the deal, you guys. Everybody's adapting on the fly, as everybody knows, so that's awesome. Every day, every minute, every hour, it's different. On a lot of different things out there. So just stay tuned. If we always say this, right? No ICM left behind. And you guys are smart. You guys are, and girls are wise to get on these calls and get updates and be on the webinar and stuff. So that's awesome. But some people don't have that same opportunity. They don't take the opportunity, perhaps. And they may be somebody that you care about. They may be somebody you know. They may be somebody that's on your team or someone else's team. And just don't forget to reach out to them and just remind them what's going on, so they don't show up Thursday night somewhere or something like that. Hopefully we can get the messages out there and all the links on there, you guys. And so feel free to share as much information as possible and stay tuned as much as possible. So with that being said, I have obviously I always have stuff to train on, and I'm gonna talk to some of that this morning. But if anybody needs clarification that I can give, if you have thoughts, questions, comments, regards to anything in your market or my market or whatever market or nationals or whatever, how things are working or happening, and just you can always just chat it in or come off mute and interrupt me. It's not it's an open, obviously I'm training, but if you've got something, just come off mute. I think you have to *6, or for some of you, you just have to unmute yourself so we can address it. But I gotta tell you, you guys, for me, honestly, I hope you guys are adopting it. It's business as usual. Business changes all the time. For me personally, I don't, I can't focus on what I can't control. I can't focus on the stock market. I can't focus on the news. And I can't, now you don't bury your head in the sand. My wife says that all the time. But Bill, you can't bury your head in the sand. Like, I get that. Like, sometimes I'm a little naive or a little bit too unconcerned. So there's an extreme on both sides. But what I'm getting at is I have to assume that we as a nation and a country and a world will rebound in today's day and age, that everybody in their power is working on everything that they can to make everything better, right? Or adapt and make it work. So in the meantime, for me, I'm not sitting around, and I'm not saying anybody is, but what I'm saying is, it's just business as usual. We just may offer the opportunity in a different way, but and we have to adapt and we have to change, but I'm still doing the same things, right? So I'm still reaching out. Like Keely just said, she sent out some texts. So, I'm constantly sending out text, just meeting one-on-one. I'm going to places where I need to go to meet them, and I am putting in orders, and I am offering the opportunity, and I am talking to my team, and I am talking to my leadership, and looking for my new building and all those things. So just remember, guys and girls, as far as I know, business as usual. So for example, I had a 4 o'clock one-on-one yesterday. I had a follow-up. I met up with them. I never, hey, are you sure you want to go? Or, hey, just let me know, what, have you changed your mind or anything? Like, I don't ever do that in any situation, let alone this one, right? Now, if they come back to me and they're like, hey, are you sure you want to meet with the, fine, I can go to alternatives and Zooms. But my assumption is, hey, see you there at 4 o'clock, right? And my gym was still open where I meet a lot of people. And so we went there. We were there for 2.5 hours, and we enrolled in the combo. And honestly, we found more money than we possibly could have needed. One guy has $100,000 of equity in his house. Another guy has equity in his house. They both have over 750 credit scores. They're going to 0%creditcard.com. They have so much opportunity and so much abundant mindset, and they're not, we did not discuss the climate. We didn't discuss we didn't discuss any of those things. We discussed the future. We discussed buying rental property, right? We discussed getting them out of their job in a year to a year and a half. I mean, not because that's what I told them they could do, but because that's what they want to do. That's their goal. So if that's their goal, the essentials is not going to do it for them. The AIT is the only thing that I know how to get them there. When people ask me, Bill, how did you do what you do? Can you just teach me? You guys have heard that before. Here's what I know, right? Is that for me and everybody I've surrounded myself with, the people on my team and the people that I've met across the country, what I understand to be true is that if you want to succeed the fastest, right, and you want to have the greatest chance at success, if you want to emulate what I've done, what other people have done, the people that I want to follow and that I want to do as well as, all of the things that I see that are in common, the AIT Extreme Combo is one of those things. It may not be the key, it may not be the only thing, but it is, everybody has that in common. Everybody has that piece in common, the Renatus piece in common, right? And they also do the marketing, and they also do they also come and show up to meetings and build relationships at the community. So that's my answer when people ask me about that, right? So we got them started. Keely, it was not the firemen. They're coming Wednesday. It was a couple of other investors I've been working with that started at the Essentials probably in December, and they just upgraded to their Extreme. So, all right, remember, any thoughts, comments, or questions, you guys come out. Now, I'll talk another thing. I love this. So yesterday, we did a Super Saturday on Saturday, and yesterday, I got on the phone with one of my guys, and one of the things that he talked about was leads, right? And so Michael talked a lot about the four money-making activities, and I think it's crucial, right, that we constantly are working on the 4 money-making activities. So I think the opportunity, I'm not sure what everybody else is doing. So it's kind of interesting for me. I'm home and more than I've been in a while. And so I find myself being able to take care of some paperwork I haven't taken care of. But I think that if you find yourself with time on your hands, there is an opportunity there for you to develop some text message skills. And I think that those, like, I'm constantly reaching out to folks. Now, this particular individual said, hey, you know what, my warm market is this, right? And he talked about some of the people that he knows, some of the people that he associates with, and some of the people that in his discussions and his mind, it's difficult. And so you guys hear me say this, like, I agree that I believe that whatever you're feeling is not wrong, okay? And what I mean by that is, you know, if you feel like there's an excuse or a reason about why something isn't happening, it's not that it's wrong, right? Or it's not that it's right. It just is. But it doesn't have to be the reason that things don't work out the way you want them to. So what I'm getting at is, for example, is he talked about some of the kids that, he's young, he's 22. He talked about some of the kids that, and I say kids, but some of the young adults that he's dealing with, his friends that are not really interested. His warm market is not in a mindset where they want to do anything but go to work, you know, at whatever menial job they have. Some of them not even college educated, not that that matters, but so they're not in like some kind of career, they're just in a job, right? And then they play video games, you know, have beers, go to sleep and repeat. And so, you know, for him, he's like, hey, my warm market doesn't seem to work. You know, I don't have that opportunity. Okay, that may or may not be true. There's still a way to approach them. However, if that's how he is feeling, then we have to make adjustments, right? Because if he does not see the people, then he can never follow up. He cannot build for event, and he cannot close a sale, right? And so his business will reflect that, right? So we need to always, and need isn't a good word, but we can accept whatever it is that we have a reason for, right? So let me give an example. God, I usually have a million examples of this because I'm the biggest example of using excuses, I can tell you. Probably one of the best ones is my phone, okay? So I'm constantly on my phone, and I've created a habit where the minute I open my phone again and check it, I check like email, Facebook, text message, you know, I click on it. I'm not even looking for something in particular. It's just like almost a habit. And it's a habit if the phone's sitting next to me that for some reason in the middle of a show or in the middle of a conversation, I will pick up the phone and check it. And it's bad, especially in my household. And so when I'm called out on it, you know, when it's brought up, I usually have a reason. Oh, I was just checking this. I just had to see, oh, I wanted to respond, right? And all of those things are reasons, they're excuses, they are the truth, but they're still, at the end of the day, they're still an excuse, right? So, you know, ultimately the message is that, man, I hope this makes sense. The message is that particular time when I'm in the middle of a conversation or something like that, and I pick up the phone to check it for whatever reason, whatever good reason, whatever reason I have to go back when I was just waiting for a response and then they finally responded when I'm in the middle of another conversation, that is more important than what I was doing at the time in the conversation I was in, right? I hope you guys get that. So the option is to either continue to do and cause problems by picking up my phone, or make a decision to not do that, right? And to change that regardless of how good of an excuse or a reason I have for doing that. God, it probably didn't come across very well. So here's my point. With this, there's no question that that he is in a situation in his mind and in some sort of a reality, is that these folks that he's associated with in his world are not candidates at this time for Renatus. So he can either accept that and continue to not have guests at the event, or he needs to go out and find new leads, right? And so we talked about doing things on purpose out there trying to find leads, and how to go about doing that. So I'm not going to necessarily train unless someone asks me on how to find the lead, like what I was telling them. But my point to this is that there has to be, we have to look at whatever it is that is happening and that we have a reason for. And then we have to either accept that reason for what it is and then adjust to it and do something differently, or we have to change that reason, right? So if he was to look at it and go, okay, I'm going to change my surroundings with the people that I have, then he would need to consider approaching them with more of, right, a question-based intrigue. He would have to find, on purpose, spend time and dedicate himself to discovering why his warm market isn't interested, right? One person at a time, sit down with them or take them to coffee or whatever it is that they're going to do, and then meet up with them and then have a one-on-one and then dig down deep, almost like a counselor, and ask them until finally there's something comes out of them that says, well, I would like this, or I would like that, or I've thought about this, and then provide a solution and then offer the opportunity. But if all we ever do with those folks is just invite them, hey, you really need to see what I'm doing. You know, I know you've mentioned, hey, you know, that's really cool, or whatever, you've liked my post or whatever it is, and it's all on the surface level, then those folks are never going to change, right? They're not going to come to the event, and we're going to spend our time feeling like we actually made some effort, but we made effort with the same people that are, and we never really made the true effort to get them to come to an event. So instead of working that way with his warm market, he'll go back to them and in later time, maybe when he has more success in his mind, or maybe even when he feels more comfortable or discovers another way to approach them. But in the meantime, in order to not have a stale business and to not have people at events, then he needs to go find a new warm market. And I know that you guys understand that. So, so our discussion was that, you know, he's got dogs, so walking his dogs, whatever things that he does in his world, that he is going out with the intention of that day of meeting and collecting information from one person, like seriously being engaged in a conversation with someone, and then asking questions and then getting that person's information, not inviting them to a meeting, you guys know that, and not talking about necessarily about real estate or investing in real estate or anything like that, unless they ask him what he does and he just says that and then he moves on. All right, I can go into detail on that if you want, but that's not what it's about. my point is back to this is that for me, for my team and everything that we're doing is honestly business as usual, right? We are changing. We are changing the way we deliver the information right now temporarily. I thought about this, and I don't know if you guys did, but we are, hey, why not just do it always live or always stream, right? We're going to start having the technology, it's that type of world where, you stay at home or you can do it from anywhere. People don't have to drive and fight traffic. You don't have, they're tired on Thursday nights and all that stuff. In my opinion, I can't ever imagine it being that way. I believe that whenever this is under control and we've got the green light to get back to normal, everyday life and out in public and things like that, we're an event-driven business. We are a people business. We are a face-to-face, belly-to-belly business. And so, although everything else is convenient to stream and things like that, and to, be able to, not have to spend money on travel or gas, not have to spend an hour in traffic trying to get to an event or something like that. Spend half hour each way on a Saturday and 2 hours at a tour. Although that is convenient, getting wealthy and creating wealth and changing financial futures and things like that is not a convenient business, right? However, it is a people-to-people business. It is a relationship business. And I think that we'll continue to do that. So I look forward to that. But in the meantime, business is the same. Last week was a pretty volatile week as well. The market, the stock market, the changes in how things are done with nationals, as well as all the events across the country that were canceled. My Airbnb has had 3 cancellations this month. So I went from $12,500 or something like that, 12 grand, 11,500, something like that for 1 month in one of my Airbnbs this month in March. And now I'm down to like 7,500 with three cancellations already in March. But it is what it is. Stuff changes, right? But for me, it's business as usual. Last week, I had a record, for me, 11 one-on-one follow-ups. Like literally sit down, ask for the order, place the order, follow-ups. So good morning, bud. Good to see you. It would be like bowling night being on the computer. Totally. That's totally true, Anthony. All right. So let's dive into this. Remember, if you guys have thoughts about anything that's affecting your business right now with what's going on and all the changes to not only Renatus, but also out in the world, and how you feel, then feel free to jump out. So we all know, because we're positive thinkers and we're abundant mindset, and the group of people that we hang out with every week and every month, we are an abundant mindset and we are positive and we are like, okay, let's make, lemons out of lemonade or lemonade out of lemons, whatever like that, right? But the truth is, it's still the reality of the world is that, the sky is falling, whatever the case is. So so we're going to try to make a positive thing out of this, right? We're going to, the cool thing is now it's streaming. So some people that are staying at home because they're quarantined and they're self-quarantined and they're trying to abide by all the rules and regulations, that makes total sense. We're streaming. So there's all this positive, right? But then you look at the opportunity, right? And it's like, oh, now it's an even better opportunity. The stock market's crashed 3,000 points yesterday. People need to have their money in real estate. Then we start thinking about the job losses or the loss of wages and all of these things that are still unknowns, to be honest. I mean, yesterday's news was insane. And the speculation and what policies are going to change and what the government's going to offer, mortgages and rents and bills and all this stuff. We have no idea what's going to come down of it, right? And so on the surface, we can just say, there is a great opportunity right now. People are experiencing what it is that is troubling to them, the possible job loss, the possible no wages, the loss in stock market. So we've got this solution, right? And on the surface, you guys, in my opinion, obviously we do. And it's easy to say that, right? But if we're going to address it that way, like my thoughts are, in my mind, I hope that we don't come across to people as, hey, I told you so. You need real estate. Look at how the real estate is staying up. Look what Chris Wilson said. By the way, if you didn't watch the Chris Wilson live yesterday, please go back to Facebook and Founders Webinar and watch it. I mean, Chris is a genius in my opinion. He's definitely my favorite instructor. I mean, there's a couple right up there with him, obviously, but he's been my top from day one, 2008 when I first saw him. But in my opinion, he's a genius. I think he has a very high IQ. But anyway, it's very good. But on the surface, all of that is true. But we definitely want to approach it as, in my thoughts, there's nothing that's changed today that hasn't been the same forever, right? In my opinion. So real estate, so follow me on this. And this is something I want to talk, I hoped would make sense to you guys. So when you're approaching the opportunity, right? I talked to Zach Ullman yesterday. We talked about stuff, and he's doubling down, right? He's going to start having more meetings, streamed live. Just it's the opposite of what most people would do, right? It's foot on the gas. Like when you're on a racetrack and there's a crash, and you know what I mean? You're not going to be on a racetrack driving a car, a Formula car or anything like that. But when you watch the movies and you watch it, right, they're trained to push through it. They're trained to floor it, get through the crash, go through the smoke. Everybody's cleared. Keep your steady path and go straight through. And it's the same thing here. When the smoke is out, when you can't see, when life is throwing stuff at you and everything like that, it's a time to step on the gas, to even give it more effort, to really reach out and help, right? That's when people come together, is when there's adversity and there's time of tragedy and all this stuff. People's human nature kicks in and do better. So and survive and then flourish, actually, right? So here's what I'm getting at, is that in my mind, real estate has been the number one option for me. And when I talk to people, because why? Because, right, it's the biggest piece of the pie in the pie chart when it comes to being able to create wealth and having a better financial future. When we look at the wealthy, everybody knows this, right? We look at the wealthy, we look at how they hold money and made money in real estate and created wealth through real estate. They had a business that gave them extra money, and then they learned to invest it in long-term real estate. And then they went into commercial, they went into multifamily, they went into larger units, and over time, regardless of the market, it was a great way to hedge against any type of inflation and hedge against any type of downturn in the economy, besides the tax benefits. So that's why real estate. So nothing's changed, right? Now, our approach is that, yes, absolutely, in my opinion, there is an opportunity for us to remind people what we have is the best solution to any problems we can possibly face. And now are just another examples. But we also want to be sensitive to those folks, right? We want to be sensitive to anybody losing their job or having to stay home without pay, or in any type of stock. I mean, no one's happy when their stock market loses 13% in a day, right? Everybody's fearful of any of that, right? We would be fearful even if we had a long-term buy and hold and the market crashes. We're still going to have that uncertainty, that unknown. When's it going to come back? How long is it going to take to come back? What if my renter doesn't pay? All that stuff, right? So we have to be sensitive, in my opinion, to everything that's going on. But I think that the more people you choose to speak with, the more, in today's times, more people may be open to listening to whatever it is you might be talking about. Now, they don't want you to, I don't think any approach is any different. We're not going to be talking to people and telling people, right? We're not going to be reminding people of, hey, you should do this, check this out, do this, come to this, watch this, right? Those are commands. And they are intent, like we do it on purpose. Like we mean well when we do all of those things, but imagine how people aren't receptive when things are going well, let alone when they're not going well. And you're telling them, I told you so, or you should take a look at this, or, hey, don't worry about what's going on in the world. I've got the solution for you. Like, everybody wants that, but they're right now, they're the last thing that they're really thinking about necessarily. Don't get me wrong on this. Everybody's looking for opportunity, but I'm saying they don't want to be told, I told you so. That, they don't want to be watching the news and waiting to hear back from their boss and when they can go back to work if they don't lose their job, and where are they going to, all these things are going on their mind. And then they're also thinking about, the stock market or their 401k or whatever it is. And then we're like, hey, check this out, right? But when we approach them, right, don't should over anybody. When we approach them, on the surface, it may not be as simple or as easy, but below the surface, I believe that there's no question people are considering other options, right? I remember when I was faced with the same problems, right? This is 2005, and I still did like $2 million in sales in '05, but I knew that my business was failing. I remember going to my accountant and CPA back then and talking about being able to pay bills. I remember that my inventory on my shelves were much lower. People started coming in my stores in '05, at the end of '05, and being like, hey, where's all your stuff? Have you guys not gone to a trade show lately? Or you got orders? And I would make excuses why my stores looked a little barren, right? And I started to talk to people. And so like there was some fear there. My partner at the time had 3 boys, married, had a house and a mortgage, and I was single. So I was not as scared as him, but he was concerned. His wife was concerned. And I knew there was a problem. And in fact, I borrowed $50,000 from a family member to help me go get some inventory that I never paid back, right, until I got started with Renatus, if you remember that story. But it's interesting because I was open to a change. Like I was asking people, what do you do for a living? Like, what do you do? Like I could tell people that had money or seemed to have time freedom, and I would talk to them in a time when I was losing everything, like the next year. And I started to look out towards real estate. When my store, like I could look back at my stores, if you guys can imagine, I mean, I'm not when I'm leaving, but I mean, literally I can look back now. And I remember I would think about my business and I would think about real estate in the future with real estate. And I would look back and go, that thing's burning, right? My store is on fire. And I remember thinking to myself, doing the math, like, okay, let's just say that me and Kyle build these businesses up to $3 million a year. And, we're 50% owners and we have 4 stores. And I started to do the math on like 5 years later. So I was 34, I'm going to be 40, and I sell them and I make $1 million. If I clear even $1 million, if I sell these stores, right? Before I realized they were worth nothing after a while. And I was like, that's nothing. Like I'll be 40 and I'll have $1 million only. Right. And I started to look at retirement calculators. And so I was like, and I got to work every night and every weekend to get there. And so my point to this is that in a time like this, on the surface, people may be fearful and they are, waiting it out because, there's a positive, right? I mean, we don't know how long this lasts. We believe that if we self-quarantine, if we take these actions over the next few weeks, that this virus will kill itself off. The heat will come back in the summer and ruin it. By June or July, we'll be completely rid of this thing. So there's all these positive, like things are going to, the market is a very volatile market, but it's not on a long-term crash. It's more on a rebound. It's going up and down each day. So there's all these things, right? But all these things on the surface, but in reality, a lot of people are considering other options. They don't want to go through this again, right? It's like if you think about a breakup in a relationship, they're going to go out and get married again or have another relationship, but they're going to learn from their mistakes. They're going to be more skeptical about it, right? And things like that. And so when you think about what they're going through now, this, if you remember, folks, like think about this. In the last like 10 years, people have come up, especially over the last 6 years, and job security's been good. Increases in pay have been good. Credit's been going up. The market's been going up. The economy's going up, unemployment's going down, all of these things. So we get complacent, we get happy. And we've forgotten sometimes what it was like to feel a little nervous again. And now they're reminded of that, most likely temporarily, right? If we can fix this. But there's a loss of control there. And when we approach it with an opportunity through questions, and we approach them with transparency and reality. So like, not everybody on this call, including myself, is where we want to be financially, and we're not making all the money we want to make, and we're not flipping houses, and we're not owning a big portfolio, and we're not doing all of these things, building these big teams yet. Okay, we're in the process of it. But I believe that the 90 whatever people that are on this call, you guys, I believe, don't feel as bad as some people without another option, right? You don't feel as scared as people that have no choice except to sit back and wait. So with that, if you are transparent, like, hey, you know what, and I'm not saying come out and say, hey, I haven't done anything, and I'm nobody, but I've got this thing. You guys know what I'm talking about. When let's consider, talk to your 5-star, talk to your leaders, or talk to the mirror and plan this. But folks, when we approach people with an alternative, and we're like, hey, you know what, I still have a W-2. I'm home right now. I'm not getting paid, or I am getting paid, or this is what I know, but I am actually working on a business, right? And we offer people the opportunity through questions. Hey, how are you feeling? Have you ever thought, I was talking to this guy, Bill, and he was telling me a story. Have you ever thought about like not ever feeling this way again? Like, if there's something you could do to control this one thing, where no matter what happens in society, the market crashes, or, you have to be quarantined. I can't believe, I've never lived through a pandemic before, but obviously, in the growing population and the world of technology and everything that we have, we never know what's coming down the pipe. Have you ever thought about not wanting to lose control of your financial future, right? If we really ask sincere questions, and we truly care, and we truly know that we have something that could help them, and it's not about, hey, look what it's done for me, look what I have. It's more about, is it possible? Could this help you in the future? Like, even if it takes you a year or 3 years or 5 years, because I'm doing it, right? And even if it takes me the next time, right? When the market does crash a little bit, when I'm going to be prepared, I'm going to have lines of credit, I'm going to have good credit, I'm going to have knowledge to be able to buy property on sale, on a discount, where then I can come out of that recession or that crash, and I could be free, at least at a much higher level than I'm in now, right? Have you ever thought about that? Like, I think that the opportunity right now to talk to more people, but on a compassionate level, right? With compassion, could change your life and change your business's life, right? We are going to get back to, I believe, I don't know, but I truly believe we will get back to a normal state of meetings and everybody out in the world going about their business. The stock market will rebound to an extent, and things like that will happen. And what happens, you guys? Time heals all wounds, and people will change, people will forget, and you will have the same struggles you're having now, or you've had in the past, in the future, where the timing's not right because they don't feel they need it, because they're happily compliant. They're complacent. They're comfortable. The market's strong, right? The government's going to bail out whatever they need to bail out, and we're still the strongest and then life will take over, and everything will be fine. And you will look for those people that are on that circle. Like, there was one training in 2008 I went to, I'll never forget. It's this circle of life, right? And I'm not talking about, born to die. I'm talking about at times in people's lives, if they're at the top and things are really good in this section over here from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock, they're getting promoted, they're having children, they got a new job, they started a new career, they just graduated college, they're on their last year of college, they just graduated and they're taking a year off. All of these things are real positive. The opportunity for change may be there, but it's not urgent, right? But as things go from 1 to 3 o'clock, and they kind of get bored with their job, they notice they're not getting promoted anymore. They're spending more money, they end up in more debt. And then when you get from 3 to 6 o'clock, and 6 o'clock to even 7 or 8 o'clock, in that part of the clock, that is when that is when they are ready and willing, right? They are tired and things are not going well. But right now, there is on the below the surface, I believe there is an opportunity where their clock is at past 3 o'clock. They are seriously considering. Now they're going to go back to their job. They're going to miss a couple of weeks of paychecks, or their kids are home. And when the kids are home, it's more money. All of these things that are happening. There's that surface level, but deep down, they're not going to forget it, and they know what that feels like, and they are considering what they can do in the future to offset this when this happens again, right? And so I believe that if we reach out to more people that we don't normally reach out to, and we have legitimate discussions, I would imagine that some of you on this call, if not a lot of you, are experiencing necessarily the same things, because you're new to Renatus, you're new to building your business. You've already spent the $20,000, so you have a little bit more, investment debt. You have a situation where you need to make some things work. Even if you flipped your first house or whatever, you still have your job, and your job is either in jeopardy or timed out or whatever the case is, or friends and family and colleagues that are going through this, right? So it's real to you too. But you, I believe, I would imagine, have a feeling inside that is, you know what? At some point, if Bob keeps pushing the way he does and adapts, he's 56, him and his home team and his family have dedicated the last part of their lives to this, to enabling me to have this opportunity. If Bob continues that and continues to roll out these stops and continues to add value, that I've got something that I can use that eventually one day, if I don't learn to quit, will save me from how I feel right now. And if you truly believe that, and you truly feel that, then you can pass that message on to people today through a good conversation, through a sincere conversation, whether it's a stranger, a cold market lead, a 3-foot rule, or some of your friends and family. You may want to start with your friends and family again, and you may want to have a serious conversation with them, right? Or you may at least reach out to them and ask them if they're willing to have a serious conversation with you and your 5-star, somebody that may have a little bit more experience having the conversation. But honestly, it doesn't need to be scripted. It doesn't need to be practiced. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be transparent and real, right? And is everybody going to jump on it and pull out 20 grand in a time like this? Maybe not. But you could start building that tidal wave. They are going to be open to looking at something. What else do they have to do? The fact that Keely started this off with the live streaming and the opportunity, they can sit at home in the quarantine world and they can watch a video. They can watch a live tour, right? They can watch a live presentation where all these people will come into the Zoom room, and then they'll go into their own rooms and they'll have a presentation, and they'll have an opportunity to look at something where they normally, their life hustle and bustle gets in their way and they can't figure it out. And so when that happens, when the dust settles and the government and the world, and we all figure out how to get through this, you will have a pipeline of people that will be interested, that have at least seen the opportunity and at least have something planted in the middle of their brain or in the forefront of their brain that is another way, is another option, and it's something that you've already made a choice to do. And I think that that is the true opportunity. When Zach said he's doubling down, it's not taking advantage of the situation where all these people, and don't get me wrong, like, obviously there's a need more now than ever, right? And maybe not even more now than ever. It might just be more prevalent. It's popped up to the surface, right? The fish are at the surface level, ready to bite and looking for food. But you guys get my point, is that it's not about taking advantage, but it's about, oh man, I lost my thought now. It's just, it's about being able to look at a situation where people may be open to other alternatives given what's going on today. Let's see. Yeah, everyone needs Renato. I love these little comments. Thanks, Tracy. Awesome. This is a great opportunity for genuine compassion conversations around what we do why we do what we do and why everyone needs us. Absolutely, Keely. What would be a good short text that you would send out to family and friends to get them on a live webinar into this intro this week? All right, Megan. So I would say, obviously, this is a good question. So I just sent a text this morning to Eric. So let's see. I would say number one is acknowledge the craziness, right? So you may want to ask a question like, hey, where are you, it's going to depend on the person, but in general, right? How about all this craziness? Or, what are you doing to get through this craziness? Something that I've factored. Wow, who would have thought, right? Whatever it is that comes to mind that you have these are friends and family that you have a relationship with that would make sense. It's a little bit lighthearted. Then I would move to an intrigue question, and I don't know where they are. So let me give you an example. Eric, in my opinion, is a friend of mine, and when I sent him a text this morning, come on, phone. I can't even put in my password. That's weird. Okay. Yeah, so I said, hey, buddy, what are you up to? Staying in AZ for a bit with this craziness. Given the market, because I know he's in the stock market, he's got a 401k and his travel, right? So I know his travel. I said, given the volatile market, what are your thoughts? Have you and Megan thought more about investing in real estate versus just the market? And so let me know if you want to meet up today or tomorrow, knowing that I'm imagining your travel is a lot less, right? So it was very specific to his situation and where he was with what is going on with him. So if there was a text that I could do to get them to a live webinar this week, I would say, I would say that, so I got to go back to a couple things and we'll finish up here. Number one is, I'll read that last message too. Number one is it's business as usual. I don't know that it's I don't want to be like it's crazy different now than it was before. But I think, like I kind of said there, given the, and I don't know if you've asked them before or not, but given the situation, hey, with all this things going on, especially that crazy stock market, have you given any more thought to considering investing in real estate or taking a little bit more of an advantage of your financial situation? Maybe not say it that way, but do you know what I mean? Like, hey, it's crazy out there, right? God, I'm pretty sure this thing's gonna, get taken care of as long as we all do our part. But let me ask you, have you considered any more now than you did before about some of the things I was telling you about the real estate investing or whatever? You know what I mean? Like just ask them if at all, given the situation, there's something in their mind that has considered it a little bit more, right? And some people are going to probably be like, oh my God, no way, I can't even think past today. You know what I mean? I don't even know if I'm going to have my job tomorrow, right? That's going to be the natural instinct possibly and the natural response. But then we just acknowledge, at least we've got an open conversation and we acknowledge, no, I totally get what you're saying. But have you noticed some of the panic, right? And, for some reason, like I'm panicked too, but I know that I have a path that's gonna really hedge against this in the future. Does that ever occur to you to have that, right? So something along those lines, you guys, in the text would be, in my opinion, the way I would approach that text is like, we definitely want to acknowledge what's going on. We don't want to make light of it. And then we just want to act like something sincere about, hey, you know, has it occurred to you? Have you thought about it? Have you considered any alternatives? Or, you know, if you talked to them before about it, has it brought you back to any of the things that I mentioned to you before? Or, you know, I was personally thinking about you. If you hadn't talked to them before, you know, it could be hey, I was personally thinking about you, and I thought now more than ever, I should share this information with you. Have you ever considered this, right? Or, you know, again, not use the word should. I would retype that. But, you know, now more than ever, I feel like I was very selfish in not sharing this information with you. And I thought about you. Have you considered any alternatives for the future when it comes to your finances, or something to that effect? Let's see. Want to hear how our company survived the 2008 crisis and how it can help you now in this time of uncertainty? Possibly, Anthony. I want to thank everybody for their support in this turbulent time. My business is still thriving and wouldn't be possible without all your support, and I am ramping up my business even more. So everybody can read that. Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's a wrong way to say it. It's 8:05, you guys, so we'll respect everybody's time. Of course, probably no one has to go to work, so you probably can stay here all day. You know, if I don't think there's a wrong way to say it necessarily, but my thought is this. There's a chance right now to put the foot on the gas, to really take advantage is not a very good word, but to help people out. There's an opportunity to get people in front of the information a little bit easier, perhaps even than it has been with live events, right? And given that situation, the harder part about it would be, given the volatile situation that they have out there. A lot of people are a little bit trapped in fear and not really wanting to do anything. They're frozen. They're out buying groceries, whatever, and they're a little bit fearful. But I think through transparency, however you feel, whatever you type and whatever you say, as you ask questions to people, if you are sincere and you mean it, and you know in your heart and your mind that Renatus is the solution, and you believe in the 4 core beliefs, then you can help more people now than you've ever helped them before, while helping yourself. And I feel like that's the truth. I feel like taking it, you can be with the vehicle that you have found in Renatus, and the fact that you have invested in it. You are leading by example, whether you've done a first deal or not, that given that you've taken this step and you honestly convey that message to others, you can change their life. And it may not be immediately in this week or next week while they're quarantined, or, you know, while we're restricted to what we can do by the governments, but when the dust settles, they will come back and remember that, and look to not having to go through this again by taking a look at what you have offered them. All right, so I'll leave you guys with that. I don't think there's any more comments, you guys. That was awesome. I hope that makes sense. Like I said, the time is now. That's the model for the slogan for the Nationals. I didn't talk much about Nationals. Make sure you get your ticket if you haven't already gotten it. To please, if you know anybody who hasn't, or you haven't done it, just reach out to someone and discuss it with somebody who may have their ticket and stuff like that, and just figure out a way to make it happen. There's nothing more valuable than this Nationals, and the timing couldn't be better. But the timing is available for you guys, in my opinion, to double down, to put the foot on the gas, to eliminate all fears of talking to people, and be sincere. And if you have one thing that you can offer them, the fact is that you have a vehicle, a solution, a opportunity, just an incredible community and resource that will, if not this crisis, we will always hit more crises and see more things. You have something that will enable you to, sooner than later, hedge against inflation, hedge against the stock market crashes and everything else, by learning to fix your credit, get lines of credit, have resources, have relationships, have real estate, have renters, and have net worth that doesn't matter when things go down and then they finally come back up, right? You have that. And if you truly believe that, you can honestly and transparently convey that message. All right, you guys. Awesome. You're welcome. David and Hilda, Megan, you're awesome. Welcome, Doug and Debbie. Love you guys. I will see everybody virtually at Nationals in a couple weeks. I appreciate every one of you being on this call. I appreciate your listening to me and taking it all with a grain of salt. And hopefully there's a piece or two in there. And yeah, I'm grateful for this opportunity. I'm grateful for Christian and Michael inviting me onto this call a couple of years ago. And I'm grateful that you guys take the time out of your day to listen to me. So it means a lot. Yeah,
Bill,
go ahead.
How's your brother doing during this virus time?
Honestly, he has gone in the opposite direction.
Oh no.
And, yet I would be surprised if, he's not really taking his health seriously. And
Okay.
I know my sister-in-law is pressing on. She's doing great, and she's just accepted it to this point. So I don't think he's willing to help himself. So fortunately, he's not had another heart attack or anything, and he's survived that. But he's self-medicating, to say the least.
Oh, I thought maybe this might be a wake-up call.
No, he's sleeping through it.
Okay. Maybe that's best.
But thank you for asking. I really appreciate it. If I get him on the phone here in the next couple of weeks, I'll see how he's doing. But yeah, he's not. He's taking a different direction, the opposite of this.
Oh.
Do you know when the online links training are in Denver? So Michael's going to have those up. They're working on them right now. Michael and the Blacks over in Utah are all putting this together for their combined links for the Thursdays nights and the Saturdays and everything. I got a meeting this morning with my leadership for our online stuff. We're going to determine how much we're going to combine Scottsdale with Salt Lake and Denver. We had already planned on this Wednesday night was our meeting for this week. We usually do it Thursday, but this week happens to fall on a Wednesday. So we're probably going to still do our live. If we join forces, we're going to figure all that out over the next day or two, and you guys will get those links. But this Thursday out of Salt Lake, there will be new links. They bought some domains, and those domains will get out to everybody where you can just send those blasts out, and they can just click on that link, and boom, they're gonna be open into a virtual room, a virtual Zoom room where we will have everybody meet up as if you'll see the power of the national community. And then we'll break out. So it's going to be really, really phenomenal what's planned up coming up. And I'm going to be doing property tours live. So I'll get those links on the 411 and all that stuff. So, all right, but stay tuned, you guys. You'll get the text and everything and the info through conversation. We'll have those links up in the next couple of days, so you're prepared for Thursday. Yeah. All right, everyone.
Appreciate your wisdom.
Yeah, you're welcome, girl. Thank you, LaShawn. I love you, girl. Everybody else, thank you very much for being here, man. I'm very grateful. Yep, no ICMs left behind. Copy that. All right, folks, I'll end the meeting. Have a great day. Make it a great day, and enjoy the time with your family. All right, you're welcome, Bobby. Thanks, you guys.